Right here.
It's a wig.
Mr. John Dugan.
$20 per picture, 50 I take the wig off. I give you the.
Now, Mr. John Dugan, Mr. LaRose, Mr. Tony Moran. You know who these guys are? Let me give you a little synopsis. He, when he was more or less a youngster, was playing a grandpa in Texas Chainsaw. This guy, Mr. Insidious, and Saw in the whole 9 yards. And this gentleman right here, the man behind the mask, Michael Myers. So, with that being said, we'll let the gentleman say a few words, and then we'll open the floor to questioning, okay? So, with that being said, let it roll, gentlemen.
Oh, we have words?
Well, it's nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't prepare any.
No.
Oh, don't worry about it. I got you covered. I got you covered.
I was in second grade. My
I've got this crick in my neck. Do a little magic.
A little masseuse.
Oh, I got you covered. So basically, we'll start with you, young man. Now, you started this character. You went in for the role. And one of the biggest, most notable faces as far as that William Shatner mask is concerned, $250 right off the bat. That had to be an interesting payday.
Yeah, that was a weird.
How far we've come. How far we've come. You know, between Napster with rock and roll and copyrights and such with, you know, the movies and such. But man, it has grown. Too bad you couldn't get your name signed on the dotted line for that one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They had actually asked me to do Halloween 2, and I turned them down and said I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to wear a mask again. But so
really?
Yeah. I was an actor.
down a job.
We're so vain, aren't we?
I'll do anything.
Yeah, I was an actor. I didn't want to wear a mask again, you know. But they said, well, okay, can we use your footage from Halloween 1 and Halloween 2? We'll give you the credit and we'll pay you. And I go, for doing nothing, that sounds good to me. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And you've also had your background as well. You know, you took a little hiatus, but you did do some TV programs like The Waltons and Chips. And how was that experience?
Yeah, all the popular episodic TV series I did guest stars and feature roles on and all that. And then in my early 30s, I just split Hollywood. And I just got tired of it and just split. You know?
And then you had your hand in producing a little bit with the movie Bag and such.
Yeah,
and you started and produced in it. And
yeah, they contacted me to start doing horror conventions, and then people started, sending me scripts and stuff like that. And so I like doing the independent horror films and independent movies, period, instead of Hollywood. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So
very nice,
yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So what was it like to run around, gentlemen, knowing that you were in some of the most iconic films of all of you in the latter days with a big, I don't know, that big thing stuck through your mouth and then chains all around your neck. That had to be interesting and feel real good in that chair all day long.
Yeah, that was a rough day for sure. I mean, everyone asks, is it fun to be being Saw? And I was like, well, the day was hard. It was a really rough day when you're emoting, torture all day. It's a long day, but it's fun and it's a privilege and it's awesome as an actor to be in a movie that gets seen by somebody. We do independent films, and I agree with Tony. I enjoy doing independent films more so because we get a little more play and we get to control things a little more. Where you do a bigger feature, the producers control everything. The director doesn't. I mean, you think a director would, and some of them do, but it's really the producers, the money holders that control it and dictate everything. But anyhow, yeah. So it was a great stroke of luck, really, to be involved with something that gets seen by a lot, and then gives me the opportunity to become part of the community, the horror community, which is, as we all know, I think, a very dedicated and loyal group of people. Best community, yeah. And so I just think, and then it allows me to do these conventions, which I get to meet some splendid people and become good friends with some great people.
And he's got really great hair. Really great hair, which I personally love myself. As far as you, Mr. Dugan, when you were in Texas Chainsaw in the beginning, what was that like when that first came out and then you saw the movie yourself for the first time and it was like those credits roll and then that voice and just...
Yeah, well, the credits were pretty much my favorite part. You got to see your name. I saw it in the Chicago theater on State Street in Chicago, and it for those of you who have never been there, it's an old, like vaudeville house that they have since renovated and everything. But it's a beautiful old big theater in downtown Chicago, and I saw it there with pretty much a full audience. It was a rush, you know.
Where's that mask or that makeup set you wore now? Is it tucked away in horror heaven somewhere?
The guy who designed it has it. He put it up on eBay a couple of years ago, and he wanted a starting bid of like $30,000, and he took it down about a week later. Nobody bid on it. It's just in pieces now. Just pieces of latex.
Yeah, was it cut up or?
Yeah, it was applied in sections. It was taken off in sections.
Yeah.
So you know, there's a nose and there's a cheek and there's a chin and
in those days, you know, I mean, nowadays they say
I really wish I would have kept
Johnny Smith tries to sell it, and people buy it. But I'm surprised back then they would have.
I wish I had the suit that I wore. I'd love to have the shoes. There were these brown and white Spectators that I really kind of dug. I should have kept the shoes at least. I didn't really think about that. What was the question, man?
No, I think you pretty much answered it. I just said, what was it like when you first?
When I first, yeah, and then it created such a stir that then I left Chicago, moved to L.A., moved to Hollywood for a while, did that whole routine with very little luck, and in Hollywood it was looked at, it was quite popular, but. In the studios, it was you go see a casting director in the studio in Hollywood. They look at your resume and they'd see that and they go, "You were in Texas Chainsaw Massacre?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, yeah." So it wasn't a foot in the door; it was almost like a foot out the door.
And it hasn't changed too much today in that horror doesn't get the respect from studios.
We don't.
I mean, it's a little better because they're making money. You know, Lionsgate is doing pretty well because of the Sauce franchise.
And they pay on time.
You guys do have like those cult followings that are starting to grow. I mean, you're reappearing, like for you after 30 years, and you know, I mean, it is coming back now. You're doing these things, and people, you know, they love it. I mean, I got into this today, a few days ago. I was just a singer, and my little boy goes, "Dad, I want to go to this thing that they're doing, blah blah blah. They've been working on this for a year, and this thing is beautiful." And we walked into this. It was like, you know, walking into, I mean, Never Land. I was like, I can't believe all this cool stuff, that everything that goes into it, and all the colorful people. You know, there's so many people that, you know, just thought things of this nature before were just like, oh, for like the sci-fi guys and like Boogeymen love people. But man, this thing is amazing. I was like, there's so many colorful, creative people that are in entertainment. And you know, you got to have that mind that's like a kaleidoscope. And I realize there's so many more people that do. It's just not how cool you look on a stage or on a set. It's what you do in that you know, that attitude that you provoke in people. They're like, oh man, I want to do that. I can be that creative. Something that you might have thought was simple. I got to play the grandpa. I was 27 years old. 40 years later, it's one of the most scariest, still iconic things. Obviously, you who are doing now, Jay, doing the newer stuff that scares the hell out of people, then they're making a bunch of ones back to back to back, so they're obviously doing something. And now you're coming back and you're producing and doing things like that. And then you have all these creative, colorful people that get involved in these things, that come out to these things. Like I said, my little boy showed me, I'm like, wow, I feel like a little boy now. I think it's really cool. I never thought a few weeks ago it was going to be something like this. And now I'm like, man, I'll do this anytime. You guys are awesome. Aren't these guys awesome? You guys are awesome. You guys are the ones bringing all this stuff back. So you give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, clap for yourself.
You know, I had never told John this or Jay just because I never got around to it, but with Halloween, what happened to me, I was in an acting workshop, and we also built a theater to do stage work also. And I was, 21 when I did Halloween, but I was taking myself, pretty seriously. I was doing Shakespeare and all this other shit, And Halloween was my first role ever, And I had an agent that was my little sister's agent also, and by the time I was 19, I, didn't want to really do anything but maybe just act, So anyways, she calls me up one day and she goes, look, I'm really sorry. It's been so slow in the industry. It's going to kill you. You're going to laugh at this, I swear to God. She goes, I'm sorry it's so slow for interviews for you. You know, your age and your type and all that stuff. But I got this, you know, low-budget $350,000 horror movie called Halloween, and Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. And I said, well, who the fuck is that? I didn't know who she was, you know, she explained it to me. And she told me the movie was called Halloween. And, you know, I told her, you know, I'm not interested. I don't want to do it. She didn't even know about a mask either, by the way. She just said I had to play some psycho. That's all she said. So I said, no, I'm not interested, you know. And
Not enough of a stretch. Right.
And so she goes, well, look at, Donald Pleasance is in this movie. I said, you're out of your mind. There's no way he's in this movie. He's a classical British actor. You know, a big fan of his. She goes, I swear to God. I go, no way, no. She goes, Tony, I swear to God, he's signed on. He's already signed on. I go, you're kidding me. She goes, no. So I go, okay. So that was on a Wednesday. And my interview time was on Friday morning at 8:30 in the morning in the most ghetto part of Hollywood you'd ever want to see. I mean, it was just ghetto, you know. And so I knew I had to play psycho, so I didn't sleep, I didn't shave, I didn't bathe, I didn't do anything, you know what I mean? I just was going to be as cranky as I could possibly be, you know, just because, you know, play a psycho, okay, you want a psycho, I'll be a psycho for you, you know. So I go to the interview in Hollywood, it's up an alleyway, and I go into the room. There's a little one-room office, and there's a cat sitting behind a desk with a suit on and clean cut and everything. I'm like, oh, cool, you know, it's Erwin DeBlanc, the producer. Shook hands, you know, and points across the room. He goes, that's my director, John Carpenter. Is this guy with the, you know, hair as long as yours, a ponytail, t-shirt, jeans, and tennis shoes. And I'm like, oh, God. He goes, this is the director, John Carpenter. I go, okay, whatever, you know. And, but I was so curious because of Donald Pleasance, you know. So they chatted with me for about 15 or 20 minutes, and I split. And my agent calls me up later that afternoon, about 4 or 5 o'clock or so. She goes, congratulations, you got the job. I go, what the fuck can do? You know? Yeah, because I didn't tell anybody in my family, I didn't tell anybody in my workshop that I did this movie, right? Because I figured in 1978, calling a horror movie Halloween is about the corniest thing in the world, you know? It's like, how corny can you get? And it felt like, porno. I was doing some porno stuff, you know? So I signed the contract, and got my measurements, you know, and I show up at the house in Hollywood, and this girl comes up, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so, here's your, she's got the coveralls and the airborne army boots, and a mask. She's holding a mask and a jar of Vaseline. Because I had a lot of hair. I had a lot of hair back then. And I point the mask. I go, what's the mask for? She goes, oh, you have to wear this. I go, what? I'm wearing a mask in this movie? Because nobody told me, you know? She goes, yeah, you gotta wear a mask. I never told you guys that.
No, I've never heard the story.
So I say, you kidding me? She goes, no. I'm like, but I was sleeping on the couch at my buddy's house, typical starving actor guy, trying to, like, I'll do it, whatever, right? So I go, okay, what's the jar of Vaseline for? She goes, well, this is 100% latex. When you take that off, it's like Velcro, it'll tear your hair right off, your head. So you want to put the Vaseline in your hair so it just slides right off. I swear to God, it's a true story. True story, yeah. And then, like I said, I didn't tell anybody. And back then, there was no, Blockbusters or, movie rental places or anything like that, or HBO or anything. So if a movie was really popular, it'd be in the theaters for a year and a half, something like that. Right? So I'm with my girlfriend that I had at the time, I said, hey, have you noticed that this is about 5 or 6 months later, I hadn't seen the movie. They sent me an invitation to go to the premiere. I thought it was the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. I was like, how stupid can you get? I'm going to go to a premiere of this piece of shit, And I threw it away. I laughed. I didn't even go. I didn't even go to the premiere. I just threw it away. So, the movie's, I swear to God.
Too bad you don't have
I'm still an idiot.
Exactly right. Too bad you don't have that for eBay right now. You ought to make a couple of bucks.
That's exactly right. So he's still playing it 5 or 6 months later, and I turn to my girlfriend at the time. I go, hey, have you noticed this movie's still playing? She goes, yeah, I have. I go, "Well, you want to see it?" She goes, "Sure." So we go to the theater, and it's packed, and everybody's screaming, and all that stuff, and yelling at the screen and stuff. And look out, kind of thing. And it goes halfway through, and I turn, and I go, this movie's not bad. I swear to God.
That's awesome, man. That's a true story. It's sickeningly awesome.
I know. I mean, I tried on my, so I'm about the most blessed person in the world because of it, because I fought tooth and nail not to do it and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And then here I have all this stuff. It's just the most humbling
awesome.
thing for me. Yeah, it's just humbling. As hell. Yeah. Just great. That's
Well,
a true story.
I was a theater actor in Chicago and all that stuff. But I jumped at the chance to do a film. Now, this is so stupid. Because I thought, as a professional actor, the money was really in film. Well, there's no money in fucking film either. If I really want to make a living as an actor, I'm going to do film. Because this theater shit doesn't pay.
Yeah, right.
Then years later, find out well, film doesn't really pay all that well.
It can, but
Yeah, oh yeah.
you got to be a producer again. Once again,
It's the start. That sort of stuff.
You did theater in Chicago?
Yeah, I went to school at the Goodman Theater.
Goodman? Oh, you went to Goodman?
I went to Goodman for
I
3
grew up in
years.
Chicago. That's what I was saying.
What neighborhood are you from?
Rogers Park.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
still
in
on
North
Greenleaf
Shore.
Street.
Oh, right. Just by the North Shore Loyola campus, like right by the lake up there.
Yeah. That was a
My brother-in-law Rooker went to Goodman too. Mike Rooker.
He's your brother-in-law?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know him.
Married to my sister.
Did Norman and I just go there too?
Did you guys a cup of coffee or something like that?
You know, interesting things. I mean, you did theater in Goodman. Did you do organic or anything like that?
You know what? Now, this is a funny story. But
That's a Chicago.
I think it's a funny story, but maybe just among us. But I must have auditioned for the organic 3 times, never got cast. And about 7 or 8 years ago, I'm at a show in Texas, and I'm sitting with Ed. I don't know if all of you are familiar with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but Ed Neal is the weird hitchhiker guy. I'm sitting with him, and I look across the room, and there's Ted Nicolai. Now, Ted Nicolai was our sound guy on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I had not seen him since we wrapped the film in 1973. I'm like, is that Ted? And he goes, yeah, he's making films now. He said, go say hi to him. He'd love to see you. And it's like, it was Ted, but he was like older, But it was still Ted. So I get up, and we weren't doing much. I got up and walked across the room, and I say hi to Ted, and Stuart Gordon's sitting next to him. I was like, shit, there's Stuart. And I said, Stuart. He says, yes. I said, I'm John. He goes, I know you are, John. And I said, yeah, I auditioned for you several times when you were the creative director of the Organic Theater. You never cast me. And he goes, and I was sorely mistaken.
Organic Theater's a theater in Chicago, and John Malkovich.
The Organic was the pinnacle of the 1970s theater.
I read about it.
Scene there. This was with Steppenwolf. That came in the...
No, but was he organic for a while?
He may have been.
Maybe not. Maybe.
He's a bit
I was a
younger than
theater. I jumped right into doing drugs and not theater.
I was doing both at the same time.
I didn't know better.
Yeah. One final dress rehearsal for Taming of the Shrew.
My funniest thing
Never
about
mind.
I'm going to share something that has nothing to do with anything. But doing the conventions, being in Saw, blah, 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 getting to do this, it's funny to say I meet all these people, and you meet a lot of people that have done a movie 30 years ago, whatever. And he's the only one that looks better and younger in character now. Everyone else, you'd be like Gunner, or like that, and all these people get old, believe it or not. And then John was
really
old. It just thrilled me because he was the youngster now compared to what you pictured him as.
Yeah, I was the youngest cast member playing the oldest character. And the weird thing is that Jim Seedow was the oldest cast member, and he was, and we referred to him as the old man. He was 15 years younger then than I am now. The old guy.
So Jay, as far as you go, like with the movies now that are like freaking everybody out, what is it that captivates you with what you do? And like I was bringing up with the I mean, when I saw that one clip of you and you had that hook through your mouth and the chains all over you, it still freaks me out. So why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
Well, working that was a thrill because that was the first bigger movie I did, and it was a cool thing because there was a lot of makeup and there was a ton of makeup. We did 4 hours of makeup, 2 guys on me, and it was just
Shit,
beautiful
that's
thing to
4
watch.
hours.
Well, and lucky for me, I only had to do it one day really because we got it all in one day. If I had to do that every day for a month, it would have been torture.
Kill you.
But so that's a real thrill to do that. But nowadays, now it's just about trying to really get any kind of work that's decent. That's good. I had the pleasure of working. I'm going to plug. With Charlize Theron.
Nice.
And Nicholas Hoult. Everybody knows Nicholas Hoult, as I did a scene with them a couple months ago. So that was, and it's not horror. Maybe I was horrible, but that wasn't horror. But it was. But that's what thrills me is just getting to be an opportunity to work on almost on any level on a project nowadays that I know will. Hopefully get seen. I was in Now You See Me Too, but I got cut out of the movie. And that was one of those torturous things where that didn't thrill me. Luckily, the director called me beforehand and said, "Hey, Jay, kind of
Got some bad news for you."
Luckily, he, as a nice guy, he put it on the Blu-ray as an extra feature, deleted scenes.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I immediately threw it on YouTube, and it's but I really was in this. I promise. Where'd it go?
Does anybody have any questions? We'll wait till the very end. Go ahead. Here, let me bring the mic to you.
Or yell real loud.
Everybody's shy till the last 5 minutes. Don't be shy. Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, what's some of the best markets for an actor looking to build their career?
Whoa.
I'll start. I'll jump in right now. The auto answer is going out to LA or something, but honestly, I think Georgia is growing a lot right now, and
Boston too.
Boston, is it really? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Boston, right on. Louisiana's always been a very strong market.